My disclaimer: my videos don't necessarily promote one religion. My views and opinions aren't meant to change the minds, opinions, or beliefs of others. Watch with an open mind. Disclaimer: copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, entertainment, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. We continue to uncover the profound wisdom within the timeless scriptures. Take care, and God bless. Welcome back to our series, Unveiling the Prophetic. As we delve deeper into the scriptures, today we will be investigating one of the most powerful prophetic visions recorded in the book of Daniel, the vision of the four beasts. Join us as we uncover the implications of this vision and its relevance to our world today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we explore the fascinating vision described in Daniel chapter 7. In this vision, the prophet Daniel saw four great beasts rising out of the turbulent sea. Let's take a closer look at each of these beasts and unravel their profound message. The first beast, resembling a lion with eagle's wings, represents the mighty Babylonian Empire, which Daniel himself served under. The wings symbolize the rapid rise of this empire to power. However, the removal of its wings indicates a shift in its dominion, foreshadowing the fall of the Babylonians. The second beast, resembling a bear, signifies the rise of the Medo-Persian Empire that followed the Babylonians. This beast was raised up on one side, mirroring the dominance of the Persians over the Medes. Its three ribs in its mouth are believed to represent the successive conquests of Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. Moving forward, the third beast, resembling a leopard with four wings and four heads, portrays the rise of the Greek Empire, spearheaded by Alexander the Great. The four wings symbolize the speed with which Alexander's conquests spread across the known world. The four heads represent the four kingdoms that emerged after his unexpected demise. Lastly, the fourth beast described in this vision is unlike any creature seen before, terrifying and exceedingly powerful. Many biblical scholars equate this beast with the Roman Empire, which arose in the centuries after Daniel's time. The 10 horns on its head symbolize 10 kings who would emerge from this empire. So, why is this vision of the four beasts so significant? We believe that it carries prophetic implications reaching far beyond the ancient world. Throughout history, we have witnessed the rise and fall of numerous mighty empires, each following a similar pattern to the four beasts in Daniel's vision. By understanding this pattern, we can gain insights into the potential outcomes of today's global events. The vision also reminds us that no matter how powerful human empires become, there is always a higher divine authority overseeing all events. It reminds us that worldly dominions are transient, and ultimately, God will establish an everlasting kingdom that will never be destroyed. 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. 5. And behold another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Discussion questions. 1. Is this chapter in chronological order? When do these events occur? 2. What key word or words are repeated in this chapter? 3. In what way is writing down the dream helpful? First, what other biblical passages describe a similar scene? 2. What do you think of when you think of a beast? What qualities does a beast have? 6. What type of animals did the 4 beasts appear as? 7. What qualities can you see of these beasts from their descriptions? 8. Would you want to make friends with these beasts? Why or why not? 3. Why do you think that these kings are described in this way? Cross-references. Revelation 13:1-2. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns, and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. Revelation 13:5-7. And the beast was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Also it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, and authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation. 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel 5 records the last day and death of Belshazzar, and chapter 6 records Daniel's ministry as official to the Persian king. Chapter 7 takes place at least around 10 years before these events. At this time, it appears that Daniel had retired from active service at the court, but he didn't spend his days vacationing at the beach and collecting shells. Daniel was active as a prophet, receiving and recording revelations from the Lord. In the first 6 chapters of Daniel, he interprets the dreams of others. In the last 6 chapters, he himself is the recipient of special revelation from God. And while the first half of the book is a chronological history of Daniel's official service, the last half is more akin to a journal of his own interactions with the Lord. Application: believers should never retire from serving the Lord. As you grow older, the location and method of your ministry may change, but you should still minister. This truth is built on the principle that every aspect of our lives, from start to finish, belongs to the Lord. 2. Then he wrote down the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel faithfully recorded his dream and subsequent encounter with the heavenly being. His record was vital not only for his own memory and walk with the Lord, but for us as well. Application. We are to be diligent in our walk with the Lord. One way we can follow Daniel's example is to take good notes when we study the Word. Whether you are listening to a sermon, having a quiet time, or joining an inductive Bible study, you will get more out of it if you record what you are learning. 3. 4 beasts came out of the sea. We see the same wording in Revelation regarding the rise of the beasts in the end times. The sea seems to be symbolic of the evil of mankind spread over the world. Sometimes it refers to Gentile nations, Psalm 74:13, Isaiah 57:20. In Revelation 21:1, we learn that in the new earth there will be no more sea. Man's evil system will be defeated. Evil plots will no longer be hatched against the Almighty. When something is in the sea, it is hidden. Only when it comes out, it is revealed. Therefore, no one would be able to identify the identity of these beasts, kings, until after they were revealed by coming to power. Just as it would be folly to star at the surface of the water and guess at the location and identity of an unseen sea creature, so it would be to guess the names of these kings before they rose to power. It could also relate to the Mediterranean Sea, as each of these 4 empires had a geographical connection to it. 4. The 4 beasts. Each of these beasts had a specific appearance. That is, each of these kingdoms which are described had unique features. They were 4 separate and distinct nations, and yet they also had similarities. The most obvious similarity is that each one was a beast. The term beast generally has a negative connotation. Beasts generally are ugly. Think Beauty and the Beast. Only the most powerful animals or mythical creatures are called beasts. But more than just their power, beasts are typified by a total lack of self-control. They lack any type of grace, morality, or culture. Instead, their actions are controlled by their basest instincts. Whereas a man has self-will and should restrain certain fleshly instincts, a beast never does. A beast is controlled by rage, passion, desire, and violence. To call a person a beast is a great insult. It means that he is behaving like a wild animal and not a man. Whereas a man is made in the image of God and is to live out the fruit of the Spirit, a beast has no soul and commits all the works of the flesh. The beasts act just like their father, the devil. Jesus contrasted himself with Satan. He brings abundant life. Jesus is a life-giving force. He offers the bread of life. He offers living water. Everything good and perfect is a gift from him above. The world, on the other hand, seeks to ensnare and ruin you. The nations and the systems of culture they espouse today are more akin to beasts than they are to God. Would it be wise to go and cuddle with a bear? One man thought so. Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, attempted to live with brown bears in Alaska. They made documentaries of their experiences, in which they claimed to build mutual trust and respect with the animals. Unfortunately, the ending is quite predictable. Both of them were mauled and eaten. Application. Do not love the world or anything in the world. Do not get cuddly with the world or its system. And do not get seduced by its power or the false promise of fulfilling all of your desires. Don't build a relationship with a bear. Build a relationship with the one who gives life. 5. The 4 beasts are 4 kings. 17. In verse 17, the angel tells Daniel that the 4 beasts are 4 kings who shall arise. Each of these kings will establish a new and powerful empire. Scholars generally agree that the 4 beasts represent the following 4 historical nations. A. The first one was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Eagles and lions are both considered to be majestic animals. Eagles are lord of the air, and lions are the king of beasts. This beast represents Babylon. Note that its wings were cut off and it was made to be a man. This fits with the life of Nebuchadnezzar. He was proud like an eagle, but God humbled him, repeatedly reminding him that he was merely a man and not a god. Jeremiah also used the images of a lion and eagle in reference to Babylon. Jeremiah 49:19-22. A winged lion statue taken from Babylon is displayed at the British Museum. B. The second beast was like a bear. This beast appears more carnal than the first. It is pictured as in the very act of devouring flesh. 3 ribs protrude from its mouth, and it is commanded, "Arise, devour much flesh." A bear is slower than an eagle, but more powerful. It represents the Medo-Persian Empire and the king who established it, Cyrus. Their armies were notorious for their brutality and strength. Note that the bear was raised up on one side. That is, one side was larger than the other. Probably this is a reference to the fact that the Persians were more prominent than the Medes. The 3 ribs may signify their 3 great conquests: Egypt, Babylon, and Lydia. C. The third beast was like a leopard with 4 wings of a bird and 4 heads. A leopard is swift, but made all the swifter for its 4 wings. This beast represents the Greek Empire built by Alexander the Great. He was one of the greatest military minds in history. By the young age of 28, he had already conquered most of the known world. His tactics, 4 heads, were brilliant, and his quick strikes were difficult to repel. After Alexander died, his kingdom was divided into 4 parts and split among 4 of his generals, as shown by the 4 heads of the beast. D. The fourth beast was dreadful and terrible, with great iron teeth. Daniel says that this beast is different from all the beasts that were before it. The iron teeth remind us of the legs of iron of Nebuchadnezzar's vision of the statue. The 4th beast represents the Roman Empire, which will come in 2 parts. The first Roman Empire was represented by the legs of iron, and historically rose to prominence in 27 BC. And the revived Roman Empire is represented by the feet of clay and iron, and it is as yet a still future kingdom. The hallmarks of this beast are its strength and ruthlessness. It breaks into pieces and tramples everything that stands in its way. In addition, it is described as having 10 horns, 3 of which will be plucked out, and a little horn that boasts great things. You can read more on this in our study of Revelation 17 and also later in this chapter. Application. God knows the future. His sovereign plans come to pass. No man could have predicted the rise and fall of these as yet still future kingdoms so accurately. God can. These last chapters of Daniel remind us that time is in his hands. The future can look terrifying, just as it did for Daniel. But we don't need to be afraid because God is in control. Nine. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. 11. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horns spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Discussion questions. 1. Who is the Ancient of Days? Why is he described with this term? 2. What are your observations about his appearance? 3. What does his clothing and hair teach us about him? What does the fiery fire of his throne signify? 5. What might the wheels refer to? 6. Describe the heavenly crowd before the throne. 7. What was he doing on the throne? Who was he judging? 8. What do you think the books contain? E's. What was the outcome of the court session? 10. How does this passage affect our lives today? Cross-references. Revelation 19-20. And the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who in its presence had done the signs by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped its image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. Psalms 92. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Psalms 103:19. The Lord has established his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom rules over all. One. The Ancient of Days took his seat on the throne. Daniel uses a unique title for God here. It emphasizes God's eternal existence. One of the major themes of Daniel is the temporary nature of earthly kingdoms contrasted with the eternal nature of God's kingdom. The words kingdom, dominion, endure, and forever appear repeatedly throughout the book as God seeks to teach his subjects that he alone is sovereign and that his kingdom will have no end. Thus, the title, Ancient of Days, is a reminder that long before the beginning of any earthly kingdom, God already existed. He was sitting on his throne before any earthly kings had one, and he will still be sitting on his throne after they are gone. Application: remembering who God is and who we gives us a healthy dose of humility. Next time you question God, remember who was on the throne 1 trillion years before you were born. 2. His features and the throne room described. A. His clothing was white as snow. It reminds us of his purity. His glory shines without any blemish. B. The hair of his head was like pure wool. His white hair shows us his age. He is the Ancient One, existing from eternity past. Proverbs 20:29. The glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. In addition, his white hair shows his holiness and perfection. We know God is a spirit, but he chose to manifest himself to Daniel in this way at that moment to teach us something about his character and essence. C. His throne was fiery flames. Flames are a symbol of judgment. They also portray refining, like dross eliminated through heat. And again, the fire shows God's holiness. In the Old Testament, when he appeared to Israel, fire was often closely associated. Moses saw the burning bush and God's presence was within the fire. The pillar of fire protected them from their enemies and guided them to their destination. The Shekinah glory also burned brightly as a fire. D. Its wheels were burning fire. Thrones on earth generally don't have wheels. It is possible that these wheels represent the mobility of his throne. He is omniscient, observing everything that happens in the entire universe. In Daniel's vision, he saw the books opened. Revelation 20:12. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged by what was written in the books, according to what they had done. The books record the deeds of men. Judgment will be fair and impartial, based on the evidence. Application: if Alexander the Great and Nebuchadnezzar cannot escape judgment, do not think that you can. You will be there too, with them facing the Ancient of Days. He sees all and knows all. Are you ready to face your Maker? 3. The results of the judgment. The horn on the fourth beast represents a man who will rule in the last days before this judgment. He will be blasphemous to a point the world has never seen before. Many passages describe his great boasting. Revelation 13:5. This character is widely considered to be the Antichrist. The fact that he is connected with the fourth beast shows us that there will be some version of a revived Roman Empire in the last days. Note that at the judgment, this person and his kingdom is the very first one judged. John's description in Revelation matches this one. The Antichrist is the very first person judged and thrown into the lake of fire. Revelation 19:20. One day all of these beasts will be judged. Their dominion will be taken away, and Jesus will rule the earth from Jerusalem in the millennium. While the dominion over the earth will be taken away from these nations, people will still exist. Various nations will continue to exist during the millennium. While various details of these prophecies can be difficult to figure out, the key lessons are clear. The things of this world, including the power of man, are temporary. Small or great, all will stand before God's throne in judgment. Application. The application of this principle is simple. Imagine two kings are asking for your allegiance. You are allowed to see the future. You know one of these kings will reign a short time and be defeated. Though he makes great boasts, these prove to be lies. The other king will conquer all of his enemies and reign forever. Which one will you ally yourself with? Ally yourself with the King of Kings. Develop your relationship with him. Verse 13 to 14. 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. 14. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Discussion questions. 1. Who is the one like the Son of Man? 2. Why is he called by this title? 3. What does this passage show you about the roles of the Trinity? How could a man have an everlasting dominion? What hints does this passage give about the nature of Jesus? How do you see the theme of kingdoms running through the book of Babylon? 6. What key lesson do we learn in this book about kingdoms? 7. How is God's kingdom contrasted with man's? Cross-references. Revelation 1:14 to 15. The hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace, and his voice was like the roar of many waters. Mark 14:62. And Jesus said, I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven. John 3:13. No one has ascended into heaven except he who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. One. With the clouds of heaven there came one like the Son of Man. Son of Man is a title often used by Jesus. The messianic title signifies the Savior's identity as a man, a representative of the human race. In Scripture, he is often pictured as either going with or coming with the clouds of heaven, Mark 14:62. Daniel has been privileged to see a vision of God the Son in his glory. 2. He was presented to the Ancient of Days. God the Father and God the Son are shown to be distinct. 3. To him was given everlasting dominion. Here we see the role of the Father and the Son. The Son voluntarily subjects himself to the Father's rule. The Father glorifies the Son by entrusting all of creation to his care. Jesus will be the ruler over all. All people of all tribes, nations, and languages will be his subjects. His kingdom will last forever. Luke 1:133. And he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. This prophecy will be fulfilled in Jesus after his second coming and the final judgment. Revelation 19:22. Application. People generally seek to immigrate to more prosperous countries. There are websites that calculate the value of various countries' passports. Some passports are worth more because the host country is more powerful, has more benefits, or can gain you entrance into more other countries. Therefore, being a citizen of Jesus' kingdom is to be desired above everything else. Have you immigrated to become a Jesus' kingdom citizen? Immigration has certain rules before it can take effect. Jesus gives us one. Believe in him. Do you have faith in Jesus? "15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. 16. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. 17. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever." Discussion questions. Why do you think these visions made Daniel anxious? What did he do when he was worried? What lesson can you learn from this? What kings might be represented by these four beasts? What clues do you see in the beasts' appearance that can link them to specific kingdoms? How should a believer react to this vision? 18. One. Daniel was anxious and approached an angel. Daniel was a person like you and me. He was not immune to worry or fear. The vision alarmed him. It was terrifying. It is not every day that you see a vision of the end of the world. Notice what Daniel does with his worry. He immediately goes to seek help. Desiring to find out as much as he could about this vision, he asked someone in the know, perhaps an angel, for an explanation, application. There will be many times we are confused or anxious. When you have those feelings, go to the source of all wisdom. There is only one who can solve all of your problems. 2. The interpretation was given to Daniel. Ask and you shall receive. Daniel asked what it meant, and he was told the answer. The given interpretation is very simple. The four beasts are four kings. Though they have dominion for a time, it is the saints of the Most High who shall receive the kingdom. Jesus made a similar point in his Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5:3-5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Daniel lived in a time when darkness seemed to reign. Judah was defeated. He and his friends were exiles in a strange foreign land. Idolatry dominated every aspect of culture. Violence, pride, and selfishness were rampant. He needed a reminder that these things were temporary. In the end, God wins. We too need that same reminder, and that is the lesson of Daniel 7. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. 21. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. 21 I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. 28. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Discussion questions. 1. How was the fourth beast different than the others? 2. What do the horns on its head represent? 3. Who do you think the one horn in verse 20-21 represents? Q. What will this person be like? 5. How long will he rule? 25. 6. What might it mean that he wants to change the times and the law? 7. How will this kingdom and ruler meet its end? 8. What will happen after the demise of the fourth beast? Ka. What principles can we learn from this? 10. What does this passage teach us about God? 11. What does it teach us about man? 12. What does it teach us about this world that we live in? 13. How important is it to have an eternal perspective? 14. How will having an eternal perspective help you resist temptation? 15. Based on what we learned in this chapter, should your attitude be toward the world? One. Then I desired to know the truth about the fourth beast. Daniel's hunger for the truth is commendable. It would be easy to just say, "This is too complicated," and just let it be. But Daniel sought to understand every detail he could. 2. Recap of the fourth beast. In verses 19-22, Daniel recaps what he had already seen in his vision of the fourth beast. It was powerful and brutal. 10 horns were on its head. These ripped out 3, and 1 horn was conspicuous in its boasting. That horn made war against the saints. Finally, the Ancient of Days judged this beast, and the saints possessed the kingdom. 3. The explanation. A. The fourth beast would be different from all the kingdoms. B. It shall devour the whole earth and trample it down. The Roman Empire conquered a vast swath of territory. The revived Roman Empire will rule over the whole earth. C. The 10 horns are 10 kings. There are many views about these 10 kings. See notes on Revelation 17. Some spiritualize these 10 kings and say that they refer to the many kings of the Roman Empire in history. However, we should take this dream within the context of Daniel. In Daniel 2, the king had a dream of a statue. The statue had 10 toes, just like this beast has 10 horns. The rock representing the eternal kingdom of God smashed the toes. So Jesus' kingdom will directly conquer this kingdom. That kingdom and Jesus' return are still in the future. Therefore, it stands to reason that the 10 kings here in Daniel 7 are also still future to us. They will reign over the world in the last days before Christ's return. At that time, another king will arise, different from them. He will put down 3 of these 10 kings and take dominion for himself. The Antichrist will blaspheme the Most High, war against his saints, and even attempt to change time and the law. Notice that time, times, and half a time are given into his hands. That equates to 3.5 years, the latter half of the 7-year tribulation period. Finally, this ruler will be punished, and the true saints of God will partake of his perfect everlasting kingdom. Scholars do not agree on every detail of eschatology. Some aspects can be hard to understand, but the key point remains. God wins. Everyone on his team wins. His kingdom lasts forever. 4. Daniel was disturbed by what he saw and heard. God revealed very solemn and weighty events to Daniel. For Daniel's part, he was not apathetic. He cared greatly about the world and what he saw of it through this dream. The Lord clearly held Daniel in high regard to entrust him with these spectacular prophecies. Amos 3:7, "For the Lord God does nothing without revealing his secret to his servants, the prophets." We are blessed that the Alpha and Omega tells us what is to come. He tells us so that we will be ready. Satan attempts to deceive people by promising unending pleasure to those who follow their lusts. God's message is clear. Everything in this world will end. Only his kingdom lasts forever. Application: do not be seduced by the short-term pleasures the world offers. Have a long-term perspective. Comment: what are your thoughts? Share a comment about what you learned from this Bible study on Daniel 7 below. As we conclude today's exploration of Daniel's vision, let us contemplate the implications and lessons we can draw from it. The four beasts, representing Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, serve as reminders that earthly powers rise and fall. But through it all, our hope lies in the eternal kingdom promised by God. Join us next time as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the prophetic, exploring the signs and symbols that reveal God's plan for our world. Until then, stay blessed and keep seeking the truth.